This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, now let us talk about company details. Now, when I talk about company details, what I mean here is for you to start your SAP FICO practice, you should have at least some companies in your mind along with their business process, certain information about the company. Let's say I'll put some examples. I want everybody to give at least one or two example. So what I'll write, I'll be writing this in two ways. So option one, the option one, what I will take, I can take any one company name. Let's say I'll take Dell Computers. I'll take Dell Computers. If you take Dell Computers, you have to write country of operations and headquarters, operating currency, fiscal year, accounting principle. Or I'll put this here, name of company. I'll take name of company as Dell Computers and then I'll put country of operations. Now Dell Computers of which country you're considering. Let's say I'm considering Dell Computers of India. I'll take country of operations as India. Headquarters, where is this Dell Computers headquartered at? Let's say this is headquartered in USA. Operating a currency. In which country operations are we taking? We're taking Indian operations,
And yes,
which means Dell Computers in India we are talking about. So if Dell Computers is operating in India, in which currency they have to do their business?
INR.
They have to do business in INR fiscal year. If they are operating in India, what is their reporting year, financial year or fiscal year?
April to March.
2020, yeah, April.
April to March will be their fiscal year. Accounting principle. If Dell Computers is operating in India, which accounting principle they have to follow to do their accounting?
IFRS.
IFRS,
In India.
ICA,
India it's
I
Indian
Company Act.
Company Act.
Indian Companies Act. Correct?
Yes.
Is this clear? I'm not writing the full information. The basic information I've put in. Name of company we are taking. Country of operations we are taking. Headquarters you are taking. Operating currency you're taking. Let's say I'll put those headquarters at the bottom. Currency is INR. Fiscal year in India is April to March. Accounting principle to be followed in India is Indian Companies Act. If you say Dell is headquartered in USA or Dell has a head office in USA, or if this is US based company, according to head office you have to prepare additional reports. That is called your group reporting accounting principle. For group reporting, which accounting principle will be used?
IFRS.
Gap.
IFRS will be used. Most of the companies nowadays will use IFRS in place of GAAP. Okay, and then group reporting currency. What will be the group reporting currency for any country?
US.
USD.
US.
USD. How many inputs we have given? We have given 8 inputs. Any doubt on this 8 points?
No.
Clear? Now, along with
Sir,
these 8 points, there is one more point we have to deal with: products. When I say products, we mean what are the main components or what are the main products that Dell deals with in the market. If you talk about Dell computers,
com
what products of Dell you will find in the market?
computer, CPU, mouse.
Shama,
Laptops.
I'll say laptops and desktops,
Yes.
accessories. Is this correct?
Yes.
Clear with this?
Sir, fiscal year, April to March, right?
Yes. So
It
here
is
we'll
the
have
like
to add,
Indian, it is the headquarters financial year or Indian financial year, sir. This is.
Indian. Here I'll
We
put
have to follow in Indian financial year only.
Indian only. Group
If it is
reporting.
the headquarters
I'll
using
write.
calendar and
Okay, so we have to put this. We did not add it. We have to put group reporting fiscal year also.
okay, okay.
Okay, now to make it more simple, let me add operating currency, local reporting, fiscal year, local reporting, accounting principle, local reporting. Clear?
Yes.
Now products we have written as laptop, desktop and accessories. Which means when you're talking about Dell computers, when you're creating a Dell computers in your SAP as company or company code, you have to make sure Dell is dealing business with laptops, desktops and accessories. Anything that you write as product represents profit center in SAP. When you're writing products, what do we mean?
We have to create.
When you're talking about products, we mean profit center here, not the materials, not the inventory. This is called as profit center. In short, your line of business. Now, similarly, can you tell one more company? You can write any company information, but make sure that whatever the company name you're writing, you are aware of it. That is the only point. Don't blindly write left and right whatever comes in your mind. Always try to take a global company, which means a company which is operating minimum 2 countries. If you see a company only operating in one country, do not take that for your practice. Take a company which is operating in more than one countries, so that you will have the option of group reporting, local reporting. That is how majority of the clients will operate in real environment. If I say Samsung, now country of operations, let's take India only. Operating currency for local reporting, what will be it?
INR.
INR.
INR. Local reporting, if you're considering country of operations of Samsung is India, you have to follow local currency as INR. This is mandatory legal requirement, and you must follow fiscal year in India as April to March.
Yes, sir.
Now accounting principle,
Indian
Indian
companies.
Companies Act. Let's say Samsung is headquartered in, assuming, Korea. Now for them, what will be the group reporting? Let it be headquartered
IFR.
anywhere,
Yeah.
majoritarily this will be IFRS. Let it be headquartered anywhere, majoritarily this will be dollar. This will be euro if your headquarters is in European continent, otherwise it is majoritarily dollar. Group reporting currency is dollar. Group reporting fiscal year,
January to December.
Jan to December. Products of Samsung,
Mobiles.
mobiles, ACs,
mobiles, home
home
Speakers.
appliance,
appliances. Next,
Speakers.
okay, you can keep writing whatever you feel. And if you do not understand what are the products of Samsung, what you do, open this company website. If you see, there is a tab called products or services,
Yes.
right? So there, if you go, you will find home appliances, mobiles or accessories, computers. Likewise, you will find a category. That category is what we normally take as profit center. When you're creating an SAP, that category, the broad category, will be considered as your profit center. In short, the market segments. Now, any other company like this?
Nestle, sir.
RD. Sir.
Audi, okay.
Headquarters in
Country of
USA.
operations in
India.
India, they have to follow INR, April to
Yes, sir.
March.
In
Accounting principle will be
Indian companies, sir.
Indian Companies Act, headquartered
UK,
America.
UK,
UK.
yes,
okay. Accounting principle for group reporting,
IFRS.
IFRS, group reporting
USD.
currency,
USD.
USD, group reporting fiscal year,
January to December.
Jan to December. Products,
RD cars. Wheels.
cars,
cars.
SUV,
Wheels.
So if you write car, you cannot write
Spare
SUV.
parts.
So if you put
Okay.
SUV cars,
sedan, sir.
any other?
spare parts,
Services, spares. Correct? Huh?
yes,
Yes.
sir.
Next, any other company?
Nestle India, sir.
Which one?
Nestle.
Is this one? Nestle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Country of operations,
India.
India.
INR.
Operating currency, INR. Fiscal year in
April to
India, April to March.
ICA.
Accounting principle, Indian Companies Act. Headquarters,
Switzerland.
accounting principle, IFRS. Group currency, dollar. Reporting year for group currency,
Jan to
Jan to
December.
December.
Jan to December. Products,
Maggie. Chocolates.
anything else?
Nescafe.
What is it?
Cerelac.
Cerelac is a separate company or Cerelac is a product of Nestle?
Product of Nestle.
Okay. One more.
Nescafe.
Okay.
No.
Country of
I was
operation,
Product
no.
is Nescafe or Nestle. Sir.
Nescafe.
It's a product of
I was
Nestle.
yeah. Product.
Acha. Here.
Yes.
Okay. Any other company?
Cargill
Starbucks.
Corporation.
Can you repeat it again?
Cargill Corporation.
Can you spell it?
Cargil. Cargill Corporation.
Okay. This is again India-based company. Your reporting currency will be INR.
Yes.
Reporting year will be April to March. Indian companies act as your accounting principal. Base company, your head office.
In USA.
Okay. So it will be IFRS,
USD.
dollar, Jan to December.
Jan to December.
Products,
Let's food related, sir, like oil, agriculture
oil.
products,
The deal with
oil
beauty
seeds.
products. Sir.
Okay.
Food and food and beverages.
Food and beverages. Okay. All right. Now, whatever we have written, are these clear? Why we are writing like this? Or you got an idea how to input this information?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt on this, anyone?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, reason why we have written here, before we get into SAP, before you start your company code creation, you must have one company name in your mind along with at least this minimum requirement. Just like that, you are not supposed to create any company code in SAP. Don't go to the company code screen, put whatever comes in your mind, never do it. That's a big mistake. Assume one company which will have this information as mandatory. In this, if you see, you have two reporting fiscal years, you have two reporting accounting principles, two reporting currencies.
Yes, sir.
Now, Any of your company code that you practice in SAP must have this information. If this information is missing, do not practice in that company code. If you are practicing any company code which has only one reporting year, only one reporting currency, only one reporting accounting principle, stop practicing in that company code. Go on mute if you are not talking, please. Everybody has this information in your previous practiced company codes? Yes, no?
No, sir.
If any of you have practiced your company codes or created your company code without this information, this is mandatory information for any company code that is created in SAP. Stop using that company code. Okay? So you have to, no other option for you. You have to stop using that company code. Whether to post a document, whether to view a report, for any purpose, you are not supposed to use that company code except for making experiments. If your intention is to practice, learn SAP FICO, your information is supposed to be this as minimum requirement. If this is not there, whatever the company code you create is only used for testing purpose, for experimenting different scenarios. So now you have to decide whether you want to create a company code for testing experiment purpose or for practicing real-time purpose. If you want to practice real-time purpose, this is minimum mandatory information. Any doubt on this information that we have written on the Excel sheet?
No, sir.
And you have to have at least 10 companies on your fingertips with this information, along with the product codes. If you're not able to get which company to take, look at your surroundings. You will find any product. Any product will have some company name. Put that company name. See which country this belongs to. What are the products of this? List out. You need not be correct, because tomorrow you are not going to write down this. You will get all this information from your project, all this information from your client. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow, if you work for any project, if you join any company, they will give you all this information. But while practicing, nobody gives us any information. Everything we have to gather from the scratch. And whatever the information you are taking must be accurate, must be realistic. Okay. Now, let's say I will take this Dell computers for example. Now, what kind of company is this? What is Dell manufacturing, or what is Dell dealing with? Laptops and desktops?
Yes, sir.
Dell is dealing with laptops and desktops. In which country are we operating with Dell according to our example?
India.
India. If you are operating Dell in India, first thing what you need to do, you need to register in India.
Correct, sir.
Now, when you register in India, you will get one company name, registered name.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's say we've registered Dell Computers India Limited. We registered the name called Dell Computers India Limited, and we started doing business. Now, when we start doing business, let's say you have made sales, you have made purchases, you had some expenses, you had some revenues, you have some assets, you have some liabilities. Clear? These points, the 6 points, whatever I have written.
Yes, sir.
Sales, purchases, expenses, revenues, assets, liabilities. Assuming my sales figure is, now if you are dealing business in India, which currency you will be dealing with?
INR.
INR.
INR. Let's say my sales is, I'm writing dummy imaginary numbers. I will say my sales is 5 lakhs and my purchases I'll put 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs. My expenses I'll say 80,000. Revenue I'll put 35,000. Assets I'll put 8 lakhs. Liabilities also 8 lakhs. And let's say these are my some financial figures for the particular month. Now, is Dell operating in one country or multiple countries?
Multiple
Multiple
countries.
countries.
Dell is operating in multiple countries. Now, in India, we have to report our financial data to who? Indian Companies Act.
Correct.
You have to report to Indian Companies Act in INR currency
Yes, sir.
for the period of April to March. Is this statement correct?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now, Dell doing business in India will have to report their financial information or they have to submit their financial information to the Indian Companies Act officials in INR currency according to April to March cycle. Now, since Dell is a global company, Dell is also supposed to report to the head office.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Dell is also supposed to report to the head office, which is in US or any other country according to the head office requirement. According to head office requirement. According to head office, what kind of reporting we will prepare? What is that head office report called? Headquarter reporting.
I see.
Group reporting.
That is your group reporting. This is your Indian reporting is called as what?
Companies. Company report.
Indian
What what
company.
what is this reporting called? Companies
Lo-
reporting or local reporting?
Local.
Local company report.
This is only local reporting. Which reporting is this?
Local report.
This is local reporting. And for group reporting, which currency you need?
USD.
USD.
USD. Which means every transaction that you record in your company code right from your first transaction, it has to capture both INR and it has to capture both dollar. In short, if I
Correct,
look
sir.
at my sales value has to be updated in both currencies, dollar and INR. If your company code is updating only one currency, that is not correct. That is dummy company code, that is dummy practice. Now, when you are updating INR into dollar, do we have to manually put dollar value or system will automatically take dollar value?
It automatically calculates.
Your dollar values are automatically calculated. Based on what dollar values are calculated? What is needed to
Exchange
calculate?
rate.
You need exchange rate. Now, exchange rate between what two currencies?
INR
INR
USD.
US.
INR USD.
INR USD, you need to maintain exchange rate. Now, exchange rate of a currency pair. Exchange rate of what? Currency pair. What are the two currencies that are involved here?
INR,
INR.
USD.
INR and USD. Now everybody knows that we have to maintain exchange rate in the system. Yes, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Exchange rate has to be maintained. Now you know two currencies for which there has to be exchange rate. If you know that INR, dollar are the two currencies that you have, and you need to maintain exchange rate always as a pair. Exchange rate as a pair, when I say, you have to maintain two exchange rates. What are those two exchange rates that we have to maintain?
INR US.
First one
Yes,
is INR to USD. Second one,
USD to INR.
if you are not maintaining like this, what you are doing is wrong. If you are not maintaining exchange rate as a pair, like in this case, if my currency is INR and then dollar, I have to update the rate from INR to dollar and dollar to INR. If I only update INR to dollar, what I did is wrong. For your practice, you may be correct, but in a project, in an organization, what you do is wrong. Because you have to always maintain the exchange rate for a currency pair, which means from to and to from. If I put INR, I should get dollar. If I put dollar, I should get INR.
I have a doubt here, sir. Exchange and who is the fixing, sir?
Exchange rate will be provided to you by your client, and this is an end user activity. So this is updated by your client. You have two exchange rates. One is MER, the other one is spot rate. Okay, one is your month end exchange rate and the other one is spot exchange rate, which means current exchange rate. If I am doing a transaction today, I will take today's exchange rate, or for the current month, I will take the last month closing rate. And this month end, I will do the currency valuation. You have something called foreign currency valuation or revaluation. Anybody heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And is that a topic to be discussed in your interview?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If your company
Realize
code,
loss and
if your company code does not have this, you're not dealing with two currencies, foreign currency valuation, and there is one more thing called foreign currency translation. You will not be able to practically see it on your system. Okay, so every topic that you do in SAP is dependent on the initial setup that you are making in your company code. If your company code initial setup is made properly, you can practice everything on SAP as the topic or as it works in a real environment in any organization. Otherwise, it will always give us a confusion what I am doing is right or wrong. So we should not be in that confusion state. Tomorrow, if you inform that this is how I am doing, this is what I have done, this is what I have understood, everybody should say your understanding is correct. If somebody like this in real time, do we feel comfortable?
No, sir.
no, sir.
Somebody says, no, this is not the way we do it in real time. This is not how we configure it in a project. Then we feel uncomfortable. Then how it, so that should not be the scenario. Whatever you do, make sure it is exactly the same, the way it is executed, it is configured, it is performed in a real environment in any project. Now, assuming exchange rate at 80 rupees. The moment you update exchange rate as 80 rupees, now there is something called exchange rate simulator in SAP. Any idea about this? Anyone? Any idea? And this is used with T code EWCT. Anybody used this before? Yes, no?
No, sir.
No, sir.
This will tell you what is the exchange rate maintained for a particular currency pair on a specific date. If I give today's date, if I put currency pair as INR to dollar, system will display INR to dollar what rate is maintained. And if I put amount, it will give me equivalent dollar. If I put dollar, it will give me INR. Based on the exchange rate, I can calculate. I can use this screen as my calculator. Okay. If you wanted to make sure what exchange rate is there, whether it is there correct or not, what value will come if I post for this entry. Every time you cannot create an entry and then click on other currency, check the value, right? You can use this screen, just give the date on which you wanted to verify the currency conversion, input the currency pair, put the amount, you will get the converted figure. Now, if you want to see it, what is the T code I said?
EWCT.
EWC
EW?
C
EWCT.
C?
EWCT.
EWCT. Put EWCT. Now, this is asking currency pair. We want to convert from INR to which currency?
USD.
USD.
USD
Put INR to dollar. Say OK. You will get this. Give the date on which you want to convert. Let's say I want to convert today. Which exchange rate you want to take? I want to take a particular exchange rate of my own. I'll have to put the rate here. Let's say 80 rupees. No, I don't want to give manually. I want what rate is currently updated in the system. Give the rate blank, put exchange rate type M, press enter on the keyboard. What is the exchange rate that you are getting here?
85.
85.
Is there anything before 85?
Yes.
No.
Slash
What is there? If slash is there, what kind of rate it is? Is this called direct rate or indirect rate?
indirect rate.
If you have two type of exchange rates while updating. One is direct quotation, the other one is indirect quotation. Anything that you put in the direct quotation will come without slash. Anything that you put in indirect quotation, that will come with a slash. When you get a value with a slash, what does this represent?
Slash
Now
amount.
exchange rate is coming as this: INR to USD 85. Now this you have to understand as rate is equal to, whenever you have slash before the rate, it is always 1 divided by rate. What is the rate? Now how you are
85.
seeing the value here? 85 or slash 85?
Slash 85.
Slash
If it is
85.
a slash 85, the rate is not 85. I'm not supposed to multiply with 85. How I should multiply? I have to multiply by applying 1 divided by 85 into your INR. Wherever you find slash, you do 1 divided by this rate. In this case, what I should do first?
Source amount.
Now I'll put is equal to 1 divided by what is the rate?
85.
85.
85. This is your exchange rate. Let's say I want to convert this 5 lakh. Now in the system it is 85. Let's update this 85. According to this, assuming that I do not know the logic, I saw 85. If I directly multiply this into 85, I am getting this 42 lakhs 50,000. Not 42 lakh 50, it's a huge number. 42 million. Now, is this correct conversion? Is 5 lakh INR equivalent to that much big number?
No, sir.
INR is always less than dollar, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I have to multiply this, now I'll put the source amount here. What is our amount? 5 lakhs.
5
I'll take
lakhs.
this 5 lakhs here. I'll put in the source amount. This is your source currency INR. If I put 5 lakhs, if I press enter on the keyboard, it will give me the target amount, which is dollar, according to this system exchange rate /85. Let me press enter. What value it is giving? $5,882.35.
Yes.
Correct? In short, 5,882. But when we calculated, we were getting a different number, which means our calculation is wrong.
Yes, sir.
Our calculation is wrong because our understanding of this exchange rate is wrong. We are only looking at 85, but we are ignoring this slash. This is very important. Okay, if you have a slash, you have to ensure that you have to understand that slash means it's an indirect quotation. You have to divide this rate with 1. So 1 divided by rate will give you correct rate. Now, if I do 1 divided by what value we got? This much. Now let me
Yes, sir.
multiply this into this 1 divided by 85, this record. 5882. Let me take this 2 decimals. 5882.35, and here also 5882.35. Is the number matching?
Yes, sir.
Now in system also, whenever you are posting any transaction, sometimes because of incorrect exchange rate maintenance, your numbers may come incorrect, and your client may tell you that exchange rate is 85 but system converted with 83. A wrong conversion had happened. For that, to understand, first we have to be clear with how currency is converted in SAP, from where exchange rates are picked, where exchange rates are stored, if there are any changes, how do we track. Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Now these points are mandatory before you post your first transaction on SAP system. Now according to this, let's say 85. So 85 means this is the rate. 5 lakhs is equivalent to, this is the dollar value. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Now I'll copy paste this everywhere. Now let me put this to 2 decimals. This is my dollar value. Now when you post any transaction, the dollar value, do we need to input or it is automatically taken by the system?
It will take automatically.
Right? When you put this transaction on the system, based on your system configuration, it will be automatically calculated and posted. You only need to input INR. The dollar part is taken care by the system. Now, assuming I want to know what is my sales, or if I have to report my sales figure to the local government officials or local authorities in India, which figure I have to tell, 5 lakh INR or $5,000?
5 INR.
I have to tell my sales is 5 lakh INR. When I give them, what kind of information I have to give to the officials, maybe internal or external? I have to give them the data for validation, for verification, for auditing. What data I have to give? Is this
Profit and loss
trial
statement.
balance, or is this P&L, or is this balance sheet, or is this the total transactions?
Profit and loss statement.
In which currency I have to give that?
INR.
I have to give that in INR. Now, any report that you generate in SAP is currency based, is currency specific. If you are generating trial balance, you have to inform to the system in which currency you want your trial balance, whether you want trial balance in local currency INR or you want the trial balance in group currency dollar. Similarly, when you prepare your financial statement, P&L balance sheet, you have to tell the system, give me the P&L in INR or give me the P&L in dollars. Which means every transaction that you do, every report that you generate from the system is currency specific. Because dollar you are using for one kind of reporting and INR you are using for another kind of reporting. These two are different. Am I correct? Can I give my
Yes,
INR
sir.
reporting to my head office in US?
No.
If
No,
I
sir.
give INR values to the head office in US, will they accept? They will not
No, sir.
accept. They will tell, please share the data in dollars only. Similarly, if I give data of dollars to my Indian officials, will they accept?
No, sir.
They will
No,
not
sir.
accept, which means you
They,
have two different requirements. These two are separate completely. You cannot club these two. Every transaction that you are posting must represent two accounting principles. One accounting principle representing Indian Companies Act, the other accounting principle representing IFRS. Let's say we are recording this sales transaction. If you are recording the sales transaction, what will be the accounting entry for this sales?
Customer account debit, sales account credit.
Customer debit, sales credit. Correct? This is your accounting entry. Now here you will put account, here you will put INR, you have to put dollar. I'll put INR dollar here. So credit I'll put negative numbers. Now debit credit must become 0 so that your accounting entry is correct. Next, assuming this is the scenario of your Dell computers. In Dell, you have written some products. What are the products that you have written in Dell?
laptop, desktop, etc.
Accessories.
Laptop, desktop, and accessories. Now, in this transaction, you should also mention something called profit center. This sale belongs to laptops, this sale belongs to desktop, or this sale belongs to accessories. Accordingly, your profit center must be assigned. Let's say this is related to laptop. If my profit center is blank, I am not supposed to create any transaction in SAP. Okay, if your profit center is blank, I am not supposed to create any entry in the system. One point. Second point, if profit center is not missing, system should not accept any entry. Even if I do a mistake, if I forget to input profit center, system should give me an error message, balancing figure profit center not filled. Anybody saw this kind of message?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Balancing field profit center missing, or balancing field profit center not updated in so and so line item. Now, when you are practicing for any transaction, if you are able to record a company code transaction without profit center, that is wrong transaction. No company code will be able to post a document without profit center in real environment. Then why your company code is allowing to post a transaction without profit center? First of all, are we aware without profit center documents are not allowed? How many of you know this? If there is no profit center, you cannot record any transaction. No debit, credit, journal entry is accepted. How many of you know this? Everybody is aware?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Right? Now, this profit center thing is part of your document splitting. Now, why we are giving profit center here, you have to understand document splitting. Now, when you do basic setup for your company code, you must be doing some settings in document splitting.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
If
sir.
your document splitting configuration is properly done, system will not accept any transaction without profit center. If I put profit center on the debit side, if I leave profit center blank on the credit side, still system will put the profit center. Go on mute, please. If I put profit center on the debit side, if I leave profit center blank on the credit side, while posting, system automatically takes profit center on the credit side. This is based on your document splitting. Again, you have three type of splittings in document: active, passive, zero.
Correct, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? If somebody is asking you document splitting in your interview, do you get a document splitting topic in your interview as a mandatory topic?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? If somebody is asking you about document splitting, your explanation is very simple. Take any one accounting entry. You have to explain document splitting answer always with one journal entry, one debit, one credit, with profit center. How this profit center is updated, that is what they mean when they ask you document splitting. How these settings are made, why we will make it. We will make document splitting settings in order to have proper profit center updation or segment updation. Okay. Now, document splitting is mandatory, exchange rate is mandatory, exchange rate simulation is mandatory. What else is mandatory? Profit center is mandatory. Now, you need to have two accounting principles. What are the two accounting principles we need?
IFRS, ICA.
IFRS and ICA. Now, accounting principle. Let's say once it will be in ICA, Indian Companies Act. Okay, and the other time, what I'll do, I'll copy this. Copy this. I'll put this. You will post entry one time, but system will show your entry as 2 times. Now, once it will be in ICA, on the other side it will be in IFRS. Next one, posting period and fiscal year. Let's say I am posting this transaction on 15 March 2023. If I post this entry on 15th March 2023, according to Indian Companies Act, what is the posting period?
12.
Well,
It is 12, correct? What is the fiscal year?
2022.
22.
2022. Is this correct? Clear, everyone?
Yes, yes, sir.
The same transaction, if I see this in IFRS, what will be the posting period?
3.
323.
This will be 3 fiscal year 2023. Is this correct?
Yes, sir.
How many entries are we posting in system? Only one entry, customer account debit, sales account credit. But your input is only this much, date, and this is what is going to be your input in INR. Dollars are automatically converted by the system. Profit center, if you give one, the other profit center also is automatically derived by the system. Accounting principle will come automatically. Posting period is come automatically. Fiscal year also is coming automatically. Now, how these are all coming automatically based on your configuration settings,
Yes, sir.
right? If your configuration is properly made, all these things will come accurately in your system. And in short, when you post any transaction in your newly configured company code, your first document is supposed to be like this. Your first document is supposed to be like this. It has to update both ledgers. Now we are talking about accounting principle, right? Now here we have to put ledger. How many accounting principles we have?
2.
2. What are
No.
those?
ICA,
IFRS,
IFRS.
ICA.
ICA,
IFRS,
IFRS. ICA.
right? IFRS and ICA, Companies Act and IFRS. In general, you have 2 ledgers. What are those 2 ledgers called in SAP?
Leading,
Leading
Leading
non-leading.
and
ledger,
non-leading.
non-leading.
Leading ledger, non-leading ledger. In short, each ledger will represent one accounting principle. Clear?
Yes, sir.
If you know that we have leading ledger, non-leading ledger, we will use both leading and non-leading. We are using leading ledger, non-leading ledger to meet the requirement of your accounting principles. To represent Indian Companies Act, you need one ledger. To represent IFRS, you need one more ledger. Now, it is your choice which ledger should represent which accounting principle. This mapping is decided only at the beginning at one time. If you decide, I will go ahead with leading ledger for group reporting, non-leading ledger for local reporting. In short, group reporting for IFRS, local reporting for Indian Companies Act. For all your company codes, you have to follow the same logic. You cannot change this in between. Once decided, decided for all. Not possible to change. Now, in general, what we will do is your group reporting. What is your group reporting accounting principle?
IFRS.
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 IFRS is your group reporting accounting principle. Always remember your group reporting or IFRS accounting principle is assigned to leading ledger. Which ledger?
Leading ledger.
Leading ledger.
Leading ledger
Leading ledger.
will always represent IFRS or group reporting. What about your Indian Companies Act? Which ledger we will map it?
Non-leading ledger.
Non-leading ledger.
Non-leading ledger.
Non-leading ledger. Leading ledger is a 2-digit standard code. What is the leading ledger code?
0L.
0L.
0L is your leading ledger. Non-leading ledger is a 2-digit
N.
alphanumeric code of your choice. I'll say NL. Non-leading, and for time being I'm keeping this as NL. Now those who have already posted the transactions, is your transaction posted in the similar way?
No, sir.
Those who already posted the transactions, are your documents updating in this similar way? If yes,
No, sir.
whatever the entries that you are posting are correct according to real time. I'm only talking about journal entry. I'm not talking about any topic. I'm only talking about basic entry, because this is the starting point of your company code testing. You have to test whether entries are being posted or not, debit, credit. And your debit, credit, your first entry should have all these parameters.
Sir, you have taken a non-leading ledger for IFRS here.
So this is leading, this is non-leading. Okay. Yeah. This is how your first document in your company code should be posted. Now for the complete document, you should have the explanation with you. If somebody is asking you why posting period is taking as 12/2022 when you put date as 15th March 2023, you have to tell this is my non-leading ledger. For non-leading ledger, I am using Indian Companies Act. According to Indian Companies Act, I have to use April to March fiscal year. In that April to March cycle, March is last period, that is why it is 12th period. How do you know that this is non-leading ledger? You have to tell when you click on any document, if you display it, on top you have something called entry view, general ledger view, correct? If you display any document,
Can we take India as leading ledger?
you can take, but normally we don't follow that. But later on you cannot change it. If you are using a global company, you're not supposed to take India as leading ledger, because your Indian
You are not audible, sir.
Sir, you are not audible, I think.
sorry, do you use INR in any other currency as official currency apart from in India? Yes, no?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, right? So your INR is used only in India. So if you are using a currency only in India, you cannot officially create your Indian Companies Act as your group currency, sorry, as your leading ledger. You can create, but if you create your Indian accounting principle as your leading ledger, you will find challenges in your controlling area. Now, to create controlling area, there are two logics. What are the two logics for creating a controlling area?
Controlling area currency is same as company code.
Now, in the initial, we talked about some different companies, correct? We have listed some different company names.
Because they are
We go
different
top.
companies under controlling area, I think.
We talked about Dell, Samsung, all this. All these companies are operating only in one country or operating in multiple countries.
Operating in multiple countries.
Multiple
Operating
countries.
in multiple countries. Now, we assumed that any company that we take for our practice will be a local company or a global company.
It is a global company.
It is
Global
a
company.
global company. So assume global company in two ways. Option number one, you assume company has more than one company code. When I'm talking about global company, option number one, understand it as your company has more than one company codes in different countries, or you have more than one company code in same country. In either ways, you have more than one company code. When I'm talking about global company, I have more than one company code. Am I clear? If I talk about global company, I mean I have more than one company code. More than one company code. Okay. Now this more than one company code, which means multiple company codes, can be in same country or these can be in different countries. Clear? This can be in same country or these can be in different countries. Assuming I have more than one company code, which means these are all belonging to same client or different clients.
Same client.
Everybody clear?
Same client.
From talking about more than one company code, I mean these are all belonging to one client or one company. Is this clear to everybody? Right. Let's say if you are working for Dell, you will be working for Dell only, but Dell may be having some 20 company codes, 30 company codes, 50 company codes, 50. But all are end of the day Dell. May be operated in different countries. Maybe in one country they may be operating with two different names. Now I have to create one controlling area for all of my company codes. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I have to create controlling area one for all company codes. Point number one, operating chart of account one for all company codes. Are these 2 points clear? You are aware of this? I think you must be knowing this before. Yes, no?
Yes.
Why we need to have this one controlling area for all company codes? One operating chart of account for all company codes, and one more point that we have to add here. Same logic, one for all company codes. What is it? Fiscal year variant. One for all company codes. Why should we do this? it does not matter whether you have one company code or 10 company codes. Always assume you have more than one company code. In this scenario, how many controlling areas should we use?
One controlling area.
One controlling area. For us to use one controlling area for all our company codes, there is a 2-point checklist. There are two mandatory things to be done to have one controlling area for all your company codes. Those 2 points are here. All your company codes must use same operating chart of account, and all your company codes must use same fiscal year variant. Now to achieve this, no other option. You have to assign leading ledger for your IFRS, non-leading ledger for your Indian Companies Act. Because IFRS is common for all your company codes for all your countries. Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're operating in India, Dubai, or any other country, your accounting principle IFRS is common, your currency dollar is common. Now with that, I will be able to maintain one chart of account for everything. I will be able to maintain one fiscal year variant for everything. If I have any specific requirement for my country, in India I want like this, I can always achieve it by doing specific settings, doing specific postings to my non-leading ledger. You have something called ledger specific posting. Entries posted only in the leading ledger, entries posted only in the non-leading ledger. Anybody posted ledger specific entries? Yes, no?
Yes, sir. We posted only non-leading ledger FD50L,
Right.
FD01.
If you post entries only in ledger specific entry screen, it will update either leading or non-leading. But normally whenever you post any document, any transaction on the screen, you will not find a field called ledger or ledger group. It will be missing, which means by default any entry that you post will update all your ledgers, leading plus non-leading, and this assignment is automatically taken care of. So first thing that you have to do is understanding of this document is mandatory. This document understanding is mandatory. First, before you configure your SAP, before you post your first transaction in SAP, this understanding is mandatory. If you have at least basic idea, basic understanding about what we have written on this Excel sheet, you will understand what we are going to do in SAP, why we are doing like this in SAP. Any questions on this accounting entry?
Sir, could you please repeat again the three you just now explained about controlling area and
Normally, any client that you work for in a real environment will have more than one company code. Okay, clear? Point number one.
Yes.
yes, sir.
So any client you work for will have more than one company code. Now all these company codes are of single company or single client. If you have multiple company codes, we call that as global company. Okay, you're calling it as global company because you have multiple company codes under one group. Now all these company codes under one group must follow same accounting logic. Because one system, multiple company codes, I have to generate report commonly for all my company codes. For that, there is two different things. You have to follow accounting principle, you have to follow ledger. Now you have to connect accounting principle with ledger. Now this accounting principle connection with ledger is common for all your company codes. I cannot say for one company code I will maintain leading ledger for my local reporting. In the other company code I will maintain non-leading ledger for my local reporting. If you put ledgers, how many ledgers do you have?
Two.
One is leading, other one is
Non-leading.
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 Ignore the code. Whether it is 0L, NL, ignore the code. Now you have accounting principle. In our scenario, how many accounting principle we have?
Two principles.
Two
IFRS.
principles.
ICA and
IFRS and ICA.
ICA.
Now this is something that you have to update. I'll say mapping. This you have to update at the beginning itself. Let's say if I assume leading ledger will represent IFRS, and I'll say this is applicable for all company codes. This is also all company codes. Whatever I decide here, I have to decide only one time, because whatever I decide here is applicable for selected company codes or for all company codes.
For all
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 company
company
This
codes.
is applicable for all company codes. Now, the reason why we get confused here is when you are practicing, we will not have a clear clarity on which company we are configuring. Point number one. Agree with me?
Yes, sir.
We will create fancy numbers. We will create any name that comes in our mind at the time of creating a company code. That is first point why we will get confused at this level. Now, tomorrow assume you are working for Dell. You are working for a project called Dell or for a client called Dell. In Dell, whatever the company code you see, everything belongs to Dell, or there are any other company code which is other than Dell.
Every company belongs to Dell.
If you are working for Dell, every company code that you see in their system is belonging to Dell only. Am I correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Clear
sir.
everyone? Now, when you are
Yes.
practicing, you are not supposed to connect this to all your company codes, because when you are practicing, if you say you have created 3 company codes, one company code you may say Dell, other company code you may say, let's say, Nestle, other company code you may say
LG. LG.
LG. Now these 3 are same or different according to our practice?
Different.
According to our
Product.
practice, these 3 are 3 different companies altogether, right? Dell is nowhere related to Nestle. Nestle is nowhere related to LG, which means 3 company codes that you are creating are 3 different. You cannot connect these 3. Okay. Now here, is it the same case or it is different?
This is different.
This is different. These 3 are different.
Yes.
Now here, if I decide, now this is decided during your initial discussion of the project. Let's say I decide I am going to use my leading ledger for IFRS.
IFRS.
I am going to
ICA.
use my non-leading ledger for Indian Companies Act. Now, wherever you put local reporting, let's say type of reporting. One is group. What is the other reporting?
Local.
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 Now, at group reporting level, your accounting principle is common, is fixed. You cannot change IFRS. IFRS is common for all your company codes. Now, when I say local reporting, this will be changing. If I change from India to some other country, I will have to assign another accounting principle there.
Yes, sir. I have to assume.
Yes, sir.
right? If I'm doing business in Singapore, I cannot use Indian Companies Act in Singapore. I have to use Singapore accounting principle there. So for non-leading ledger, you will be using local reporting, which means for non-leading ledger, there will be different accounting principles depending on the country. But whereas for your leading ledger, for your group reporting, there will be only one common accounting principle used across all your company codes. More than 90% of the cases, this is how your ledgers are mapped in real environment. If somebody is asking you where you will use leading ledger, where you will use non-leading ledger, blindly tell this one. Your leading ledger is used for group reporting purpose, IFRS. Your non-leading ledger is used for local reporting purpose. If you are operating in India, you will be using Indian Companies Act. If you are operating in any other country, different accounting principle will be used. Am I clear? When we do it practically on the system, at that time I will give you clear-cut examples. We will list out everything in detail on the Excel sheet, and the same thing we will do it on SAP. We will write everything on the Excel sheet first, only then from Excel sheet we'll go to SAP. So nothing we will do in directly SAP. Everything I'll list out in Excel sheet along with example, everything, then I'll do it in SAP. If you see here, whatever the entry we posted here, the first document that we post in SAP will be like this. I will write one accounting entry before we post our document. I will show all these settings. Whatever the numbers you are writing here, whatever the profit center, accounting principle, period, ledger, everything before we log into SAP, we will list out in Excel. We will try to understand the logic concept in Excel. Then we will do it in SAP. We will bring screenshot from SAP and paste below this. At that level, you will be able to understand what we discussed on the Excel sheet, what we did on SAP, what we got from SAP. Then nobody will create any confusion in your mind. You will never get confused. And if you do at least 1 or 2 company codes, you don't have to practice company code again for any reason. Clear? This is what is normally followed in any project. And this is the same approach that you have to adopt for all your company codes which you practice. Don't experiment the other way, because that is not used in the real environment. When you are experimenting, when you are testing different things, make sure you are experimenting, you are testing valid scenarios. If I use this approach, point number 1, we can use one controlling area for all company codes. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
One controlling area can be used for all company codes. If I use this ulta, Companies Act for leading, IFRS for non-leading, we cannot use one controlling area for all company codes. You have to create separate controlling area for each company code. If you have 10 company codes, you have to create 10 controlling areas. But normally, do we create 10 controlling areas, or we will create one controlling area?
We will create one controlling area.
It one
One
control.
control area.
We will create one controlling area. If you want to create one controlling area, this is the logic. This is logic number 1. This is logic number 2. If these 2 points are skipped, your requirement cannot be fulfilled. If you ignore these 2 points, one controlling area for all company codes cannot be achieved. There are certain things in SAP which we have to follow strictly. If we change it, our requirement will not work. You have to change your requirement also. Clear? Any doubts so far?
जी ऐसा भी question
let's say that I have a Dell company code that is operating in India and US. And India, I have two company codes, D100 and D200. And in US, I have D300. Now, how the fiscal year variant will be same for India and the US?
Now, in this, if you see, leading ledger we are assigning for IFRS, correct?
Yes.
For leading ledger, if I put fiscal year here, so here I will be using Jan to December for all the company codes. Every company code leading ledger is by default Jan to December. Now, if I am creating Indian company code, for my Indian company code, I will be using April to March. If I am creating US company code, for non-leading ledger, US company code also I will be using Jan to December. Okay, in short, your fiscal year variant is created twice, is assigned twice. Fiscal year variant will be two. One is assigned to company code in, what is the assignment of fiscal year? OB30?
OB37.
OB37, valid for leading ledger. And second one is assigned to non-leading ledger, valid for non-leading ledger. So for all your company codes, you will be assigning one fiscal year variant, which is Jan to December. Wherever you have country specific company codes, at that level you are going to assign different fiscal year variants. These are at ledger specific to meet your local reporting requirement. Clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, account principles also is same, ledger.
Accounting principle is also assigned to the ledger.
If it is Indian company, we are in like started in USA. Okay, that time it's account principles and ledgers. It is same. It is
If you are Indian company and you are operating in US,
yes, headquarters in India, operating in US.
still the same,
Same, sir.
because INR still the same, because INR is not accepted as a global currency, is it? Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So for any global reporting, for any group reporting, for any consolidation purpose, most of the times we will be using dollar. Any client will be using dollar only. So that is the standard approach in any application, not only in SAP. This is common for any organization to prefer dollar as their group currency.
Okay.
So in this
This
case, for
logic,
leading ledger, what will be the fiscal year variant? If it's a V3 or K4?
what is Jan to December? V3 or K4?
K4.
K4.
It will be K4, or you can create your own one. That code you will be assigning commonly for all your company codes, because fiscal year variant you have to assign in the controlling area also. While creating controlling area, should we assign fiscal year variant and chart of account? Yes, no?
So
Yes.
while creating the company code in OX02, what should be the currency? It's INR or USD?
If you are creating a company code, it has to be that country's currency. If your company code belongs to India, INR. If your company code belongs to any other country, that country's official currency will be company code currency. But when you're
It is a local.
creating a company, at that time you can put your group currency. You have company and company code.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
While creating company, you can put group currency dollar. While creating a company code, it depends on which country you are giving. Based on the country, you have to input the currency.
Like local currency. Right?
Local currency.
Okay.
One more
Clear?
question related to
Yeah.
the exchange rates. Can you please scroll up, please? Here, INR to USD makes sense. Why do we require a USD to INR?
Whether you maintain any transaction in dollar or not is secondary, but anytime you have to maintain the exchange rate as a currency pair. Now, you know the INR dollar rate is 85. Okay, you must input this rate for both the sides. If I put INR, I have to get a dollar. If I put a dollar, I have to get INR. Sometimes you may be passing entries only in the dollar currency. Sometimes you may want to pass entries only in INR.
Sometimes we'll pass in dollar currency.
Now, while posting entries, now currency part I have not discussed it yet. So when I discuss currency part, that time I'll explain. You have three type of currencies minimum: document currency, local currency, and group currency. I'll simply put here document currency, local currency, group currency. Correct? Huh?
Group currency or transaction currency?
No. Document currency is your transaction currency.
Oh, sorry.
Local currency is your company code currency. Group currency is your consolidation currency or group reporting currency. Now, normally what will happen if I am posting a transaction in dollar, my company code currency will be INR, my consolidation will be dollar. Now these two are always fixed. This is flexible. I can create a transaction in any currency that I deal with. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
I am free to use, I am free to do business in any currency, and based on that, system will automatically convert my local currency INR and my group currency dollar. Now let's say if I put $100 here, it may become, let's say, 1.5, sorry, 100 into 8,500. Here also it will be 100. But I can also post an entry with 0 here, 8,500 here, 0 here. I can also post an entry with 100 here, 0 here, 0 here. I can also post an entry 0 here, 0 here, 100 here. You can post entry in any way that you want. I can update only one currency, I can update two currencies, I can update all the currencies also. This part I'll discuss in the evening because this takes a little time for us to understand. That is why I did not input currencies here. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions before we close?
So could you please share Excel notes, sir, in WhatsApp group?
Yeah, I'll share today. Maybe after 1 hour I'll share to everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, sir.
All right then. So evening we'll connect at the same time, 9 p.m. using the same link.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay
Thanks.
then. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.